Men don't leave when they stop loving her. They leave when they stop respecting themselves. And that's the part no one talks about, because when a woman leaves, it's dramatic. Tears, speeches, closure posts, the whole emotional theater. But when a man leaves, it's quiet, it's calculated, it's after years of dying silently in a relationship he kept trying to fix alone. You want to know the real breaking point? It's not the big fight, it's not the cheating. It's not even the disrespect that cuts him open like a blade. It's that moment, that cold, heavy moment, when he wakes up and realizes, I'm losing myself in this. See, men are built to endure, built to tolerate pressure, built to carry weight, so he forgives the attitude. He shrugs off the disrespect. He ignores the eye rolls, the mood swings, the emotional whiplash, the shifting expectations, the constant feeling that he's disappointing her, no matter how hard he tries. He keeps going, because he loves her. But love turns into exhaustion. When it's not returned, there's a pain men don't speak about. The pain of loving someone who only appreciates you when you're useful, not when you're vulnerable. He stops talking, not because he doesn't care, but because every time he tries to express himself, she turns it into an argument. He stops giving effort, not because he's lazy, but because every effort has been taken for granted, dismissed, or compared to someone else. He stops reaching out, not because he lost interest, but because reaching out has become begging, and a man would rather bleed quietly than beg loudly. That's the breaking point. It's when he realizes he's the only one fighting, he's the only one apologizing, he's the only one adjusting, he's the only one sacrificing. He looks at her and sees a woman who expects love but does not give it, who demands respect but does not offer it, who wants loyalty but treats him as replaceable. So his heart doesn't break in a moment. It erodes slowly until there's nothing left but clarity. He doesn't slam the door, he doesn't scream, he doesn't need to explain anything anymore. He just leaves, emotionally first, physically later. He leaves the moment he realizes, staying here means abandoning myself. And that's the part that hits like a bullet. He didn't leave because he stopped loving her. He left because he finally remembered to love himself. And once a man reaches that point, there is no coming back. Let's make this brutally clear. A relationship does not die when the love fades. It dies the moment respect is gone, because love is emotional. But respect is biological. It's primal. It's instinctive. It's the foundation. And when a woman no longer respects you, she can still say, I love you, but she won't mean it in a way that matters. Here's the signal. And every man knows it when it happens. She starts to talk to you differently, not direct disrespect at first, not insults, not yelling. No, it starts small, a sigh when you speak, an eye roll when you suggest something, a sarcastic tone when you express a thought, a laugh under her breath when you try. That's not attitude. That is contempt. And contempt is the death of attraction. When a woman respects you, even disagreement feels soft. When she doesn't respect you, even silence feels violent. Because when respect dies, the relationship is already a corpse. You're just living with the ghost of what it used to be. Let's break down the disrespect signals. She raises her voice at you. She talks over you. She mocks your effort. She belittles your dreams or decisions. She uses jokes as insults. She corrects you in front of others. She compares you to other men. She treats your vulnerability as weakness. Men feel this in their bones, but they ignore it because she's just stressed. She didn't mean it like that. She's just emotional. I don't want to fight. No, stop lying to yourself. A woman's tone toward you is a direct reflection of how she sees you. If she speaks to you like you're beneath her, she already decided you are. Here's the part most men refuse to swallow. Women do not disrespect. Men they are attracted to, ever. If she's disrespecting you, she has already lost admiration, lost attraction, lost emotional investment. And the mistake men make? They try to fix it They try harder. They become nicer. They become softer. They give more. But the more you try to fix disrespect, the more respect you lose, because respect cannot be earned by effort. Respect is maintained by presence, by strength, by boundaries. The moment she realizes she can disrespect you without consequence, game over. Your relationship is now just obligation habit, convenience, comfort, familiarity, but not love. Not admiration, not desire. Read this slowly. A man should never have to argue for respect. The second she disrespects you on purpose, you don't correct her, you don't lecture her, you don't debate, you leave silently, calmly, directly, because nothing kills disrespect faster than absence. She didn't stop loving you. She stopped respecting you, and once respect is gone, there is nothing left to save. Let's talk about the point where every man breaks, even the loyal ones, even the patient ones, even the ones who swore they would never give up. It's when he realizes he's the only one trying, not the only one loving, not the only one caring, the only one working to keep the relationship alive, because love doesn't die in a scream or a breakup text. Love dies in the slow erosion of effort. Here's how it starts. You plan the dates. You initiate the conversations. You apologize first. After arguments, you reassure her when she's insecure. You fix problems she creates. You try to keep the peace. Meanwhile, she's just there, present, existing, contributing nothing but expectations, and you tell yourself, it's just a phase. She's stressed. It will balance out. This is what real relationships require. No, you're lying to yourself to avoid facing the truth. You're in a one-sided relationship. Let me hit you with the reality no one wants to say. If you have to fight to be valued, you're not valued. If you have to prove you're worth love, you're not loved. You're used. If you're the glue holding everything together, you're not in a partnership. You're in emotional labor disguised as romance. Look at your relationship like a scale. You initiate intimacy. Comfort her when she's upset. Pay for experiences. Make plans for the future. Carry emotional responsibility. Keep communication alive. Her shows up, gets upset, asks for more, offers excuses. That's not love. That's imbalance, and imbalance destroys men silently. Not with betrayal, not with yelling, with draining. You start to lose yourself in the process of trying to keep her happy. And the cruel irony? The more you try, the less she appreciates. Because human psychology is simple. What is earned is valued. What is given freely is taken for granted. And since your effort requires sacrifice and hers requires nothing, your love becomes invisible to her. Here's the part that stings. You think, if I just do more, she'll finally see how much I love her. But the opposite happens. The more you give, the more she expects. The more she expects, the less she appreciates. The less she appreciates, the less she respects you. Effort without reciprocation is submission, and once she sees you as a man who will always try harder than her, she stops trying at all. Read this with your spine straight. Love should not feel like a full-time job. Relationships require effort, but not sacrifice of self. If you are exhausted, drained, depleted, and constantly giving, while she sits comfortably receiving, you are not her partner. You are her emotional power source. And when you finally burn out, she won't comfort you. She'll say, you changed. No, you didn't change. You just finally stopped carrying what she refused to hold. Let's talk about the part of the relationship that breaks men from the inside. Not the fights, not the stress, not the disagreements, but the confusion. Because when a relationship becomes psychological warfare, you don't even realize you're losing until you're already drained. This is where the push-pull cycle begins. It starts small. A joke at your expense. A sudden mood change. A cold silence when things were just fine a minute ago. You think, maybe she's just having a bad day. So you try to fix it. You ask what's wrong. You apologize just in case. You step into emotional damage control. mode. But nothing you do works because the goal isn't resolution. The goal is control. Push, pull, push, pull. She gets close. Warm, soft, loving. The version of her you remember, the one you fell for. Then suddenly, cold, distant, irritated. Like you're the problem just for existing, and you start to chase the warm version. Not because she's perfect, but because she used to make you feel seen. Now you're hooked. You don't want her anymore. You want the feeling she strategically gives and takes away. That's the trap. Arguments stop being disagreements. They become setups. You're not talking to solve anything. You're talking to survive. Because no matter what you say, you're not listening. You're being defensive. You're making her feel unheard. You're not giving effort. The conversation isn't a conversation. It's a test you can't pass. And when you're exhausted, drained, and ready to just drop it, that's when she cries. That's when she suddenly wants to talk. That's when she says, I just want us to understand each other. The emotional reset, the reel in, the pull. You feel relieved. You think the storm has passed, but it didn't pass. It reset. So the cycle can repeat. And here's the worst part. You start questioning yourself. You start wondering, am I the problem? Maybe I am emotional. Maybe I am not doing enough. Your confidence fades. Your voice gets quieter. Your needs disappear. You start apologizing for things you didn't even do. And once a man starts apologizing for how he feels instead of what he did, he's no longer in a relationship. He's in submission. This is how emotional manipulation works, not by controlling your actions, but by controlling your reality. When you can't trust your own perception anymore, she doesn't need to win arguments. She already won you. Read this carefully. If arguments feel like traps, if you feel guilty for having needs, if silence feels like punishment, if your reality feels foggy, you're not bad at communicating. You're being controlled by emotional instability designed to keep you off balance. And the more confused you are, the easier you are to handle. This isn't love. This is dependency disguised as intimacy. And the only way out is the moment you stop trying to understand her and start remembering yourself. Let me tell you something that will save your life. A woman can be gorgeous. She can be sexy. She can be charming, loving, desirable. But if being with her destroys your peace, she is too expensive. Not expensive in money. Expensive in sanity. Expensive in time. Expensive in your mental health, your sleep, your purpose, your confidence, because peace is the new luxury. And most men don't realize they're trading it away until they're empty. Men don't leave. When love fades, they leave when peace disappears, because every man has a threshold. At first, you tolerate the mood swings. You tolerate the disrespect. You tolerate the emotional instability. You tell yourself, she's just stressed. She just needs comfort. I can fix this. But slowly, very slowly, your spirit wears down. You used to wake up rested. Now you wake up anxious. You used to look forward to seeing her. Now you have to mentally prepare to handle her. You used to speak freely. Now you think 3 times before you open your mouth, because the wrong tone might start a war. This isn't love. This is emotional hostage-taking. And here's the truth. A man in love becomes blind. He thinks suffering is loyalty. He thinks endurance is strength. He thinks patience is love. But love isn't supposed to feel like survival. If being with her feels like walking on eggshells, managing emotional minefields, constantly defending yourself, begging to be understood, then you're not in a relationship. You're in war, and no man wins a war inside his own home. Peace isn't soft peace. His power? Peace is waking up without anxiety. Peace is speaking without being attacked. Peace is existing without proving yourself. Peace is breathing without tension in your chest. Peace is your mind being yours again. And once a man tastes real peace, no woman can hold him if she brings chaos, because a peaceful man is dangerous. Why? Because he will walk away, not angrily, not dramatically, not emotionally, just silently. And silence is the language of a man who is done. Listen carefully. If loving her costs you your peace, you are paying with your life, and the most tragic part, she will not realize what she lost. Not at first, not when you leave, but when she sees you peaceful without her, when she sees you laughing again, sleeping again, breathing again, living again. That is when she will understand she wasn't his happiness. She was his burden. Final truth? A woman who costs your peace is too expensive. No matter how beautiful she is, your peace is your power. Your peace is your purpose. Your peace is your life, and any relationship that destroys your peace is already over. Here's the chapter that changes everything, because this is the moment of truth. You want to know who she really is, not who she pretends to be, not who she is during the honeymoon phase. You want to know her real loyalty, her real investment, her real heart? Do this. Stop chasing, stop fixing, stop initiating. No speech, no fight, no grand declaration. Just silence, not disrespect, not coldness, just stillness, and then watch. Because what she does next will tell you everything you need to know. If she cares, really cares, she will step forward. She will mirror your effort. She will ask, "What's wrong?" She will soften. She will reach for you, emotionally, physically, energetically. Why? Because someone who values the relationship does not let distance grow. She feels the shift. She wants to reconnect. She wants to repair. Effort is the language of love, not words, not promises, not speeches. Effort, if she brings warmth, presence, communication, accountability. You have a woman who is capable of loving, but if she only cared about control, she will explode. Suddenly, silence becomes an attack. Your stillness becomes manipulation. Your calm becomes emotional abuse. She's not upset that you pulled back. She's upset that her power over you stopped working. Watch closely. Does she panic and start arguments instead of conversations? Does she throw accusations instead of questions? Does she use guilt instead of vulnerability? Does she create chaos instead of connection? Because that is the woman who never loved you. She loved the power she had over you, and now that power is gone, her ego is starving. Her validation supply is cut off. Her control is slipping. So she does what validation-dependent women always do. She attacks, not because she is hurt, but because she is exposed. This is the real test of love. When the man stops giving, when the attention slows, when the emotional energy disappears, does she move closer or does she punish you? Effort, love, chaos, control. It's that simple. Men lie with their mouths. Women lie with their emotions. But no one lies with their patterns. Here's the part that stings. If she lets you drift away without reaching for you, she was already gone. Not this week, not last month. She checked out emotionally long before you realized it. Your silence didn't push her away. It just revealed the truth. Final lesson. A woman who loves you will fight for the connection. A woman who loved the power will fight for control. So pull back. Go silent. Observe. Her reaction is your answer. She either chooses you or she chooses chaos. And if she chooses chaos, you walk away, calm, silent, unshaken, because a man who can walk away cannot be controlled. This is the chapter every man fears and every man eventually reaches, because there comes a moment in a relationship when it's no longer about how much you love her. It's about how much of yourself you've had to lose just to keep the relationship alive. Read that again. Men don't fall apart because love ends. Men fall apart because they abandoned themselves trying to save something that was already dying. So now we ask the real question. Who have you become while loving her? Not who you were in the beginning. Not who you pretend to be in front of others. You, right now, are you respected? Are you heard? Are you valued? Are you seen, or are you explaining yourself every day? Apologizing for things you didn't do, walking on eggshells in your own home, feeling guilty for wanting peace, because love without peace is not love. It's emotional imprisonment, and men stay in these relationships out of loyalty. Because men are raised to endure pain quietly, we say things like, "It's just a phase. It'll get better." She doesn't mean it. This is what love requires. No, love requires partnership, not slavery. Let's break it down. Clean and without excuses, you stay if she respects you in public and in private. She takes accountability when she's wrong, not just when she's caught. She meets you halfway. Effort for effort. Disagreements lead to understanding, not punishment. The relationship brings you peace, not anxiety. If those are present, congratulations. You have something rare, worth keeping, worth building with. But you leave if. You apologize just to avoid arguments. You feel more alone with her than without her. You're always giving, fixing, proving, explaining. Your needs are too much, but hers are a priority. Every conversation feels like a trap. Every day feels like emotional debt. If that's your life, then you're not in a relationship. You're in a contract of self-sacrifice. And here's the most brutal truth of all. A man can love a woman deeply and still need to leave her, because love does not justify self-destruction. Love does not require self-erasure. Love does not demand that you die emotionally so she can feel alive. You don't leave because you stopped caring. You don't leave because you're weak. You don't leave because you're running away. You leave because staying would cost you your soul. You leave because you woke up. You leave because you remembered who you were before the exhaustion. You leave because you realized your peace matters, your heart matters, your sanity matters. And here is the final punch. The line men don't say, but feel in their bones. You don't leave because you stopped loving her. You leave because you finally learned to love yourself.